Welcome to the AfterMat, your source for WWE pay-per-view recaps. I am your host, the People's Champ Cal, and alongside me I have my tag team partner as always, the Glamazon Delisha. Hey Delisha.
Hey, how's it going, guys?
So tonight we're going to be discussing Money in the Bank, which is, I guess, I don't know what number we're up to, but it's a SmackDown brand pay-per-view. Um, Money in the Bank is usually my favorite type of match. I won't say it's my favorite pay-per-view because I love Royal Rumble and obviously WrestleMania is the best of the year. But Royal Rumble, if it wasn't for WrestleMania, I think Royal Rumble would be my favorite pay-per-view because of that match type. But Money in the Bank is one of my favorite match types. What about you? Do you like the Money in the Bank match?
I do like the Money in the Bank concept, especially when it was first brought out. It was pretty cool because we didn't get that much ladder matches from like 2005 on out. I mean, you would get them occasionally, like on pay-per-view or on Raw, but to have it like be an actual conceptual match besides TLC, for a chance of a contract to get like a title that you wanted at the time, whether it's the WWE or the
World
heavyweight
Heavyweight
championship.
Championship, yeah.
Yeah, so it was a pretty cool concept, and it's evolved over the years into its own pay per view, which sometimes I'm glad and sometimes I'm not, such as the case is last night.
Yeah, so usually I did prefer it as a WrestleMania match because I feel it's like a marquee match, and then you have that whole year to cash in till the next WrestleMania. So I always thought that was awesome. So I love that. And I feel like didn't like oh well, I think that's when they after that they made the Money in the Bank pay-per-view match pay-per-view, and that's when I think Seth Rollins actually won it and carried it until WrestleMania. Because I don't think he won it at a WrestleMania and carried it all the way for a year. I think he had it at the Money in the Bank pay-per-view and held it till WrestleMania. But I do prefer having the as a WrestleMania match because they made those two. They had the Raw one and the SmackDown one before they only had one. And then they branched it out to the Raw and SmackDown Championship for the Money in the Bank matches or the contracts. And now, unfortunately, it's just a pay-per-view, which is one brand, SmackDown. But it's still cool that they made a women's and men's match. So, like, your overall thought of the pay-per-view without, grading or anything, how did you feel when you watched it?
Our fact checker Joe.
Hey, Joe. Welcome, welcome. Oh, yeah, before we actually get into the pay-per-view, we have an announcement to make. Your AfterMat team, alongside with our fact checker, Joe, is going to NXT TakeOver Brooklyn 3, I think it's right, the third one. So it's August 19th, I think, or something. I'm not sure exactly the day. I think it's August 19th. Yes. And they're going to come up. They're making the trip from the Philly area up to New Jersey or through New Jersey to Brooklyn. So we're going to be reporting live from there, get some good pictures. And maybe we'll do a episode on that because we're doing a traveling thing. So we can have some clips and stuff and get that on there.
Yeah, I'm excited. I can't wait. This is actually my first WWE live event or event in general. So I'm like really excited.
Yeah, how do you feel about it, Joe?
I'm excited.
Have you ever been to a WWE event or no?
No, we only went to a TNA house show the one time.
We don't say that name. Voldemort. The brand.
Sorry.
The brand that cannot be named. Yes. Okay. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah. No, I've been to like SummerSlam and WrestleMania twice, I think now, and a bunch of Raws and stuff, and I think a SmackDown. But I'm excited to I know we talked about it with Eric and Delisha to go to Royal Rumble because it's in Philly this year. So Royal Rumble, I was just saying, is one of my favorite pay-per-views. So if we can make that happen, I'll be at 3 of the 4 major pay-per-views. I'll be so excited. So we got to make that happen. So I guess we're going to the Money Bank now, and so your overall thoughts for both you guys.
It was all right. It was a pay-per-view. It was fine. It had a couple of good matches, and the rest were not so great.
Joe, yeah, blue. He said
we'll get into those as we go through the matches, but it was fine.
Yeah. So for me, like I said, I usually enjoy the Money in the Bank match itself. The pay-per-view, on once again, on paper, SmackDown had a pretty good card set up, but I feel like it wasn't the talent's fault that it didn't succeed. I think it was the booking and the writing, the creative team that kind of caused this pay-per-view not to do as well as I hoped. So we're gonna get into our overall ratings at the end of the show, but we're gonna start out with the pre-show, which I didn't get to see. I like my networks froze again, and then I guess I missed the entire match. I don't know if you watched it on replay or not, but it was the Hype Brothers versus the Colognes, right? So you get to see it or no?
No, I didn't.
No, we didn't get back in time.
And then I didn't care to go back and rewatch it.
So basically what I read about it, basically it was I had no idea Zack Ryder was off TV for this long, since I never really watched SmackDown that much, but he was off TV for a knee injury for about 7 months. So I guess it didn't seem like they missed a beat, because they fought really well. Zack Ryder did really well, and I think he dominated most of the beginning of the match until the Colognes were able to capitalize by going on his injured, reconstructed knee. But then like Ryder was able to make the tag to Raleigh, and Raleigh, being a big guy, came in and just cleaned house. And then he hit Primo with the hyperdrive and picked up the victory. So it was nice to see them come back together. Some people are claiming that they might make a heel turn, but it's too much. Like, they're too much of that good guy face look. Everyone loves the Long Island Icy and whatever Mojo Rawley's nickname is. I have no idea. But
Just
people are
hype guy.
the what? The hype.
He's
What was
just
that
the
name?
extra hype guy.
Oh, yeah. I know. I don't know. I mean, SmackDown is needing better tag teams, I think, for like, because as we'll talk about later in the tag team match. I don't know. I like to see other. We saw like the Buffer match that we always talk about. It wasn't as good as what like we the storyline's funny, but the payoff wasn't as good. But we'll get to that. So I don't think that, and not there's much to say about the pre-show, but we get right into the Money in the Banks with the women's Money in the Bank, which featured Charlotte Flair against Becky Lynch, against Tamina Snuka, against Carmella with James Ellsworth, and Natalya. So going in, at least I really wanted Natalya to win, because I feel like after all her hard work, I think it would be apropos for her to win the first ever, become the first ever Miss Money in the Bank, because I feel like she's put in so much effort, so much time, so much mentorship, that she deserves a reward. The one person I didn't want to see go away with it was Charlotte, because I feel like everything's, I mean, not that she doesn't deserve it. She's a spectacular athlete, but I feel like she's already been like, hasn't really lost in the singles, except for the Bailey match, I guess, right? He hasn't really lost in the singles pay-per-view match ever, I think. She's like 11-1 or whatever it is, and she's been champion like so many times already. I feel like Natalya deserves it. That's why I thought Natalya. How did you feel going into the match?
I felt about the same. I felt Natty, or between Natty and Becky, those were the two that kind of really needed it the most. There wasn't really one I didn't mind having, because depending on who got it, we could run with it and get a good story out of it. Like even Tamina, we could have got something out of it, even though I didn't really think that they would give it to her. But yeah, I wanted Natty to get it, because I wanted her, because she puts in so much good work. She's always the one training all these girls. It's time for her to get her moment to shine, and that's not what we got. So
what we did get was a lot of pressure put on them. I was telling you earlier, like I felt like it was a lot of pressure, like putting them saying, you said like this could have been the main event, which it could have with the talent they had. I agree with that. But like I said, they had a lot of pressure on them, because it was they kept hyping it as like the first ever like women's Money in the Bank match and all this talk about it. And I felt like it would have been too much pressure on them, so they had to like at least make it maybe the second to last, like like the match before the Buffer match. But
I wasn't thinking actually main event. I meant the second main.
Yeah, so you mean the one before the Buffer match?
Yeah, that I mean,
right.
The men's match could have been the Money in the Bank match, and the female one could have been the second one. But with the end that they gave us, I'm kind of glad that was first and get that out the way.
Yeah, I mean, like you always like it's kind of like in baseball where you have. I guess you can't really say baseball because the ninth hitter's not that important, but I mean it's kind of important, but not like as like the cleanup hitter. But the cleanup hitter is like your main event. But your leadoff hitter is got to have some kind of like spark, because it's got to set the tone for the rest of your lineup pretty much. So having the first match being at the first match also makes it kind of important as well. So I was glad to see it as the first match. We didn't really see as many good spots. Like we saw a lot of good technical wrestling mixed with some brawling. Like Tamina used her sheer power, which she should have used. What?
Straight off the bat, she was like strong.
Yeah, she like knocked everyone out of the ring, or whoever tried to come in. She like super kicked their ladder, knocking them back out. So she used her brute force, and Charlotte's a mix of both brute force as well as technicality. And then you have Becky Lynch, who's a very technical wrestler, and Natalya as well, technical. It was very well done. I think like the mixture of both the brutality as well as the technicality. It was just didn't have spots. Like like you're gonna get those like 6 or 7 spots in the men's match. but like I was expecting, like, I want to see what I said to you before, like during the match. I was like, I want to see moves that are innovative for the women in a ladder match, not that we've seen already in the guys match. Like the catapult, whatever thing that was, and all that kind of stuff, and the using the ladders, the seesaw, hitting someone in the face, kind of like we've seen that all. Like they're like kind of they're smaller, so they can like jump through rungs and stuff. Who knows like what they can do? But like I was expecting something innovative and cool. We didn't really get that. The one awesome move we got was the Charlotte Flair, what we saw like was a Twisted Bliss kind of move, like you said, onto Natalia and Tamina on the outside, right? And that was I feel that was the only one big spot of the match. Did you see anything else that you could have pointed out for the?
No, besides that was the only spot that was memorable, and it's too bad that that's what we can't talk about.
And Joe, being our fact checker, did you catch any other good spots during the match besides that Charlotte leap?
Not really. The match was just like more or less. It's like they didn't want to. They didn't. It's like once again even though they have the women doing much more, it's kind of like they don't want the women to get hurt, so they don't. So they limit what they're able to do in the ring. Or I should say they're limiting what they do in the ring just to protect them. It's almost like it was a few years ago when I first started watching WWE product, how it seemed much like they basically didn't want the women to get hurt at all. They just wanted them to make sure they looked good, and their matches were like barely 2-3 minutes.
So I would say this. I could say that this match could have been just a regular match. It didn't even have to be I mean, it didn't even seem like it was a Money in the Bank match, correct? Like most of it was, there were ladders, there were some like hits with the ladder, stuff like that, but like it could have just seemed like an Extreme Rules match with like a ladder. Like it didn't seem like there's any of those high flying spots or any of those like struggle for the case at the top or anything like that, because they didn't want them, like Joe was saying, they didn't want them to fall off and get hurt and stuff like that. So, I mean, like we've had Becky Lynch kind of fall off, like she climbed up a few steps and then like was pushed off. As this is the point where early in the evening, I was like, before like halfway or maybe 4 minutes into the match, I'm like, I really just hope Ellsworth doesn't climb and get the briefcase. So what we saw was, Charlotte taking Natalia and Tamina out. Carmella's laid out prone on the mat, and Becky's climbing, and all we see is Becky climbing. She gets about a few steps up, and then all of a sudden the ladder starts tilting, and we zoom out and we see Ellsworth tipping it over. Then him trying to rally Carmella to get up and get the briefcase, but we don't see that. We see Ellsworth climb up, grab it, and then just drop it to Carmella, who's now, and they didn't even know what to do. And that's what you and I were texting, was like, okay, are we gonna hear "Here Comes the Money" and like Jane come out and say no, this is not happening, or even Daniel Bryan coming back and saying this is not gonna happen, we're gonna restart the match? We didn't get that. So I place no blame on the women. Like I still think they're phenomenal talents and all. Well, no, I shouldn't say phenomenal. That's reserved for somebody else. They're great, they're excellent talents, but I feel like the booking, or I don't know who it was, the writing team, the creative team, whatever it was, they did not use them to their potential, and that was a letdown because they promoted this match so much as being the first ever match of its kind, stuff like that. It didn't like, because we had our first ever Fatal 5-Way match, right? The last pay-per-view, which was what, Extreme Rules. I don't think we ever had a Fatal 5-Way match ever, so that was a great match for its kind, even though it's Fatal 4 but one more, or the six-pack challenge -1, like, as stupid as that concept is, like, it was just, it did sell. It was the main event with all those talented guys from the Raw roster, but the women being as talented as they are, they didn't use them to the right potential.
Yeah, that was why it was such a big letdown, because you build up this match, the first ever women's Money in the Bank match. They have a nice shiny briefcase, and then it's like, oh, you guys, we'll let the women do the work, but we'll let the man get the title, get the briefcase for someone. It was just such a disappointment. Like, this is the finish that we get. It was like you were saying before, and how what many people were saying online on Twitter is that they don't mind that Carmella has the briefcase. They don't mind that Ellsworth would help. It was like they could have done it a different way, where it's maybe Ellsworth helping her climb up the cage. They even could have.
That's what I said too. Like maybe he gets on her shoulders or something, Because I was thinking, could they reach the thing? Was it the same height as the men's? I don't know.
I
Because, you know,
They could reach it
the men even
before, 'cause-
struggle. The men struggle to get it out. Like, you know, like you saw Baron Corbin, who's I don't know how tall he is. He's pretty tall. He had trouble getting it, you know, off the little the grasp. You know, when he was like up there at one point in the match. You know,
Yeah,
all the guys have trouble. So, do you think
they
it
could
might have been
reach it,
that?
'cause I think Charlotte at one point had her hands on it. I think so. It wasn't a problem with reaching it. It's that
Well,
they
Charlotte is also tall for, you know, Charlotte and Tamina are both tall. So
yeah. Well, too. I'm pretty sure that they would have made sure they could climb it and reach it. But anyway, it like just I don't know. It was like the message they sent was the woman can't get the job done without a man helping them to achieve this goal. And that was what left a bad taste in everybody's mouth. It wasn't the fact that Carmella got the title, because and I do hear the arguments on it. It was like, well, now Carmella has all this heat on her, but it was like, no, the heat's not on Carmella, it's on
right.
the booking of WWE and Ellsworth. So
I'm kind of wondering if the announcement tomorrow night on SmackDown Live will be that Carmella will have to defend the briefcase against Becky Lynch in a match where either James Ellsworth is banned from ringside, or James Ellsworth is, as they like to do recently, suspended above the ring in that stupid shark cage.
I hope not.
Or it's a match or a steel cage match in which Ellsworth is locked out.
I don't think that'd be fair to just let Becky get the shot at it again.
Well, I feel like the only reason I feel that way is because she's kind of the one that got screwed the most.
Right. Yeah, I mean,
because the other
I could see that happening. I agree.
On the outside of the ring, so they were like nowhere near where they could have even attempted to get to interfere or anything. It was basically Becky and Carmella in the ring, and and Ellsworth, and then
I just want that whole Money in the Big match to just be restarted. Can we get a rematch?
Yeah.
I mean, can we get a?
What I think is that's a good idea. I like what Joel proposed to happen. I think that could happen. But, you know, I was kind of interested to see the reaction of, like, you know, when people climb up, people, like, the audience cheers or they boo. They really booed Natalya climbing up. I feel like we didn't have as many marks in the audience, like, because, you know, I feel like a lot of marks would want to see Natalya win because she deserves it, right? Because, you know, a lot when Naomi won the championship, I think when Sasha won the championship, you know, when they had like the interview after the match, right? And everyone's like screaming, "You deserve it!" Like, I figure like Natalya needs that moment, but her being a heel doesn't really help her out. So
it's almost like she's good as both a face and a heel.
Yeah.
Although it's also she's been the victim of shoddy booking the past few years, because there was the times because there was at one point where her husband and Cesaro were the tag team champions, and she was essentially their mascot, manager, whatever, and she was playing the role of a heel. But then it would come turn for her time in the ring, and she'd be a baby face.
Yeah.
Which to me didn't make any sense, because it just showed inconsistent booking. It's either Tyson and Cesaro should be babyface, or Natalya should just be heel. They should just be one or the other. She shouldn't be essentially playing both roles. But also, I kind of feel like Natalya may never get like another championship or another like opportunity or another like even briefcase or anything anymore, because then I feel like they'll probably say she's too old for it, even though there's other women have been much older that have held. I mean, somebody held a women's title for 20 some years. So.
Yeah, I mean, well, that was a different age, so that doesn't really. I don't know if that counts anymore, but yeah, I understand what you're saying. So what you're getting at too, and what my point was, it was just bad booking.
Yeah.
And like for Natalya, as well as what happened at the end of this match. So I mean, other than that, do you have any other thoughts for the first match besides bad booking? I don't mind Carmella won. I just don't like how she won, and I wish the match was different. I wish there was more, but maybe that was just this experimental thing. But if they're gonna, but they do practice, they do train, they do pre-match like workouts for all this. So they should have maybe ran through this match in its entirety, off camera and stuff like that. And maybe we would have got maybe Joe's right that maybe they're being protected by Triple H or Stephanie saying, hey, we're not going to do those big moves you know, aside from the one that Charlotte did, because she does moves like that in normal matches, you know. So
I don't know. Well, we shall
I just
see.
feel it was a drastic. I feel like it was just a drastic difference from what you saw in the men's match, where you have a SummerSlam sunset flip power bomb off the top of a ladder. That's, you know, almost out. You know, that spot they did it for was very dangerous. He could have hit his neck on the rope as it's coming down. So I don't know. So I mean, any other thoughts about that first match before we move on to the second match?
I mean, it was good until it ended, and then I was disappointed, and they kind of set that tone for me for the rest of the evening.
But to clarify, not with the women in the match, with
Yeah,
the
I had no
booking.
problem with the women.
Yeah.
It was the booking that how they booked the ending just didn't do it for me.
I agree. So the second match saw the SmackDown Tag Team Champions, the Usos, against the New Day, and New Day was being represented by Kofi Kingston and Big E Langston in this match. You know, I really like the Usos look now. You know, I wasn't really a fan of them, but I really like their heel look. I just missed them coming out with the haka, like we talked about. Like, I love that whole traditional haka that they used to come out with, but that's more of a face thing, and you can't really do that. But I really did enjoy that. I mean, this was a good match. I think my favorite spot of the match, besides that big whatever the moves their tag team move is called, the big ending. Besides that was a trust fall. That was great. Kobe just got up in the air, like jumped like Jesus, fell right into the Usos. Perfect landing on them. Like that was the best spot. Like of me being of the night. I enjoyed that a lot. I mean, you can't compare that to the Money in the Bank ladder match because there's gonna be amazing spots there, but of any other in the rest of the regular matches, that was, I think, the best spot of the night with that trust fall, because it was just so flawlessly done and look effortless to me.
Agreed.
And Kofi always has a big spot at just about
Yeah.
every pay-per-view. And usually, if he wasn't competing in this match, he probably would have been in the Money in the Bank ladder match.
Yeah, because he's always
get his high spots.
Yeah, he's always got those great moments. But we saw basically Kofi being dominated by the Usos. They were basically cut the ring in half, like the old school like wrestling, where you keep your tag partner fresh by doing quick tags back and forth and cutting the ring in half, essentially. That way they can't get to their own tag partner, wearing him down. But you know, when that hot tag happens, Big E's gonna come in like a house of fire, which he did, and started just waylaying on both Usos. I can never tell which one's which. I had the same problem with the Hardys when they first came out. I didn't know which Hardy was which. Took me a while. It took me like 8 years to figure out which Hardy was which. Probably after they
really the multiple colored hair didn't give it to me.
I didn't really focus that much. I just saw them just jump off the top of the rope every time. That's all I saw. So I didn't really know which Hardy was which. For the Usos, I mean, I know one of their hairs was different last night, but usually they look the same. But they have one face painted on one side, the other one has it on the other side, kind of thing. Usually,
yeah.
I didn't know which one was which.
And one's an inch taller than the other.
Oh, really? I mean, it's hard to notice when they're like, you know, they're never over like standing up straight back to back. They're always like in like a clinch or something like that, or doing super kicks, so their head's all the way down there and kind of stuff. Like, if we can get through an Uso match without seeing like 8 super kicks, that would be impressive. Like, I think it was a good match. It was very well done. Not really back and forth until Big E got in, but those spots that they pulled off in the double team maneuvers and those close pins, that one time was actually a real pin. I could have sworn that hit 3 and they weren't, because I forgot it was Jimmy or Jay didn't get in on time to hit Big E or whatever it was. So that was definitely a 3 count, but the referee just went like 2 like that. So there was a lot of good close calls at the end. I liked that a lot, and it really showed like the desperation that the Usos had to win, like to get out of that match.
Yeah, this match was really good match. Like, again, I love all the close falls. Like, you really didn't know you were like, oh, it's not Usos about to lose. Oh, it's not New Day's about to lose, and it was just really great. And like you said, the trust fall landing was great. These two work really well together. I can't remember this is the first time they've it's not the first time they've.
No, it's not the first.
I'm pretty sure they fought on Raw as well. So
yeah, I told you my brain is like totally out of it today. But this was a great return to form for both Usos and the New Day, and it kind of shows what the New Day is going to bring to the SmackDown roster, of just mixing things up and bringing maybe a breath of fresh air, a new day, if you will.
See what you did.
It just so happens that, again, you have a great match with the what the heck ending, and I feel like isolated by itself, that ending is fine because Usos are heels, gives them heat. New Day gets frustrated, but coming off that horrible Money in the Bank finish, and then you get another what the heck finish here, it was just like, okay, is this the precedent for the rest of the show? Like, or like what's going on? But like, I feel like isolated by itself, it was great. It was great.
Right.
and continues the feud.
I completely agree with you. That type of booking is fine because you want this feud to continue because that was a great match. So I would love to see this feud continue. And the way they did it was great. Unfortunately, that like you said, the timing was not opportune. It came off a booking that we didn't agree with the way that the match ended. So having 2 consecutive matches end in a way that you didn't want, even though, like you said, if this was an isolated incident by itself, this would have been great. Just being followed up by this. Maybe if they pushed it down a little bit further down the card, it would have worked out better. But I still enjoyed it. I think it was
I enjoyed it quite well.
It was a good match, and I kind of expected some kind of ending like that because I was figuring they're not going to give the New Day the titles right now. They're probably going to work for them, and I'm figuring probably the rivalry may all come to a head at SummerSlam, and then maybe then the New Day will win and go and maybe go on to another long reign. Hopefully not as long as the last one, but just enough. But just long enough to make an impact and hopefully put over a young, hungry tag team.
That initial long run tag team, wasn't it they win the belts at SummerSlam?
Yes.
Yeah.
SummerSlam 2015 they won it, and they didn't lose the titles until Roadblock December 2016. And then coincidentally when they lost the titles, they changed out the titles to the current Red Raw titles.
So I mean, this is a feud I don't mind saying. I think on our last SmackDown episode that we talked about, pay-per-view episode, we were saying we're interested to see where the tag team division goes from here because we said people like the American Alphas, we want to see them come up, but like I think other than these 2 tag teams, I feel like the division's kind of weak because as we see later on in the evening,
there's no kinda about it.
Yeah, it's weak. I mean, I just feel tag team wrestling in general is weak, guys. I mean, when we get the Hardys come back on the Raw side, that was pretty cool. And Sheamus and Cesaro are fun to watch. But I feel like you basically on both sides, you have 2 tag teams that are like kind of competing. I don't know. They used to have the traveling champion from back and forth on shows. That could kind of work out, but I think they really want to keep the brand separate right now. So we're not going to see that.
Yeah, and I mean, if you consider Gallows and Anderson, there's maybe 3 good teams on Raw because I just feel like they've kind of gotten a bit of the shaft from the booking since they came in, and also because of the fact that they were basically keeping the titles. The New Day was basically keeping the titles hostage just so they could break the Road Warriors record, and then of course in WWE fashion, right after you break a record, you lose the titles.
Yeah, and then we also had Enzo and Cass, but we're digressing because we're talking about Raw. But hopefully American Alphas, I'm pretty sure they're in SmackDown, and they can have some NXT guys come up or something, or use some of the guys who are just not doing it because we do have the Hype Brothers, right, and we do have the Colognes, but I really don't see them as top tier talents to compete for the championship. So
Sage.
So the next thing we got is the return of Maria Kanellis with Mike Bennett, who is now known as Mike Kanellis, for the fact that I don't know, just it's a good gimmick. They came from the unknown land that we don't talk about, the Voldemort land, and it was. I like this. I like this gimmick. I mean, I was never really a Maria fan. She was all right, but I mean, I heard good things about her in the other area, in Death Eater territory, and I've never seen this guy Mike Bennett or Mike Kanellis, but I like their gimmick. They have great entrance music with the hearts, and they're so in love. I like the vomit. It basically makes you want to vomit. That kind of love, the affection that they show. But I think they pull it off really well, and I think they're going to be good. They're kind of like the Miz and Maurice of SmackDown, that mid card level talent that could probably carry a feud. That's what I feel about not knowing anything about Mike Bennett, Mike Kanellis, whatever you want to call him.
He is a pretty good wrestler, and I mean he's managed to. Because in the time I saw him on that other program, he did manage. He was a very good heel, and of course she was very good as the evil queen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're both. I'm hoping they're gonna keep that heel-ish gimmick going on because they're both really good at it. And we could always use good mic workers. And Maria's great on the mic, so is Mike as well. Um, so this could hopefully they can get some right booking going on with them, and then we'll see how it goes.
I'm just interested to see who the first feud will be for either one of them, or I mean, are they going to face? Are they going to feud with another couple on the show? I mean, could it be time for a Mike and Maria versus Rusev and Lana feud?
Or like I actually asked the other night, when is Tyson Kidd coming back? Is he coming back?
I just read an article a few days ago that basically said that the neck injury he suffered was essentially an injury that not many people recover from. He's made like a very like miraculous recovery, but he's not yet cleared to go back into the ring.
Yeah,
Kind of like a Stone Cold thing.
Yeah, similar to, well, almost similar to Daniel Bryan. He's just the doctors aren't sure don't think it's safe for him to be in the ring. I mean, I said similar because Daniel Bryan has conflicting
right
doctors' reports. But yeah, so we may not get to see Tyson Kidd back in the ring, or at least not anytime soon, which is a shame.
I mean, eventually, I kind of want to see, like, that's a good idea with Rusev and Lana to fight them, but I kind of eventually want to see them versus Miz and Maurice. I think that would be a WrestleMania type match. I mean, like an early or maybe a pre-show WrestleMania type match, but like, I feel like they're the same type of. I'm not knowing anything about the Canalises, but I feel like they might be the same type of draw, right? So on either brand, so maybe they have a Royal Rumble like tussle, and then it carries over to WrestleMania. And they have a pre-show match or something. I don't know. I think that'd be kind of cool. I just seeing the mic work. If he's as good as you guys say, seeing the mic work, and between that, I think because Miz can carry any feud. So if this guy can too, it'll be good.
It would just be interesting to see which one will be the face and which one will be the heel because both couples are basically people you'd like to hate. So,
but I feel like people could get behind Miz because I think he's paid his dues, and I feel like people get behind him now because especially the work he did with Cena, how much they made fun of him, Cena, like the fans ate that up, especially like when they came out dressed as John Cena and Nikki Bella. That was great. So we'll see what happens.
And now it's going to be also interesting since apparently when John Cena returns to SmackDown Live on the 4th of July, he's going to be coming back as a free agent, whereas he can appear on either program. So it'll be interesting to see if he does end up appearing on Raw soon and addresses the elephant in the room, a la Miz and Maurice.
Yeah. Well, and the next, so I guess we'll go on to the next match. The next match happened to be the women's SmackDown Women's Championship with Naomi versus Lana, which I just realized now when I was scrolling through my notes is that every match on the card had championship implications except for that buffer match that was actually thrown in later. So if that match wasn't in there, I think every match on the card had championship implications, either be it a championship match itself or for the contract to fight for the championship. So. Mm-hmm. I didn't, like, as you know, I don't watch SmackDown that much, but I don't know how this match came about. Lana's first match being a title shot. That's like what people hate the most about, like people who are brought from other companies. They're like right away. Like I remember when Batista came back, he won the Royal Rumble, and it's like that was like his first match was the Royal Rumble, and he ended up winning it, and people hated that. Like they loved that he came back for a second, but then as soon as he won the Royal Rumble, they hated that because they knew he was probably gonna go on to win the belt, which I think he did. Or no, he lost because it was a 3-way between him, Orton, and Daniel Bryan, right? That was that year.
Yeah,
because the fans got an uproar about that. So
yeah, because essentially they wanted Batista to come back as the all-around good guy babyface, win the Royal Rumble as a babyface, and then he had that match at the next pay-per-view. I guess it was Elimination Chamber where he had a match with Alberto Del Rio. And then he was probably supposed to go up against Orton in a singles match and win the title from Orton, but the fans and Daniel Bryan had other plans.
Yeah. Going back to Lana and how she got this match. she got involved, and she was upset that she wasn't involved in the Money in the Bank match.
No, I mean I know I know the story, but I
oh.
like back like through the back, like real life wise, how does that happen? Like how does that happen? I know, yeah, she interfered in the match, right, with the Naomi or something because she didn't get into the Money in the Bank, which she could have easily made it a 6-woman match, right? So,
well, actually, WWE did apparently mistakenly tweet that the women's ladder match would be a 6-women match, and so everybody thought that maybe that meant that Maria Kanellis would be making her debut as a 6.
Or Nikki Bella, right?
I don't know. I think Nikki's taking time off to keep her neck healed. Yeah. 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 As far as back.
Well, technically, it was a 6-person match if you think about it.
Well, yeah.
James Ellsworth.
But yeah, but this match, again, for the 3rd time in a row, pretty good match. Lana was showing some good moves, and in fact, you could tell that she had worked hard. She still got some work to do. Don't get me wrong, but again, wonky finish, and I'm like, at this point, I was like, I want to go to bed because I don't want every match at this point having a good match and being like a stupid finish or whatever. And I don't know. I like Lana's work. Naomi, of course, she's gonna do her best and do what she can to bring on a good match, and she better had won. And I'm glad she did because I would have been totally upset because no. But
yeah, so like Naomi did her part. She did great in the match. Lana held her own. She had some ring rust, if you want to call it, or whatever you want to call it, some sloppy.
Well, she can't have ring rust if we haven't seen her in the ring.
Well, I mean, shoot from NXT days, right?
No.
She was competing in NXT house shows recently.
Yeah.
And she also, I think, was in a match at last year's WrestleMania.
But I don't think she was tagged in or anything, right? No. I'm not sure. No, she got replaced, didn't she? I don't even know. But besides the fact, like she was sloppy, like for not being in the ring, as like for during your first match as a championship match,
and
she was sloppy. Yeah. So yeah, I could see it as like on like a SmackDown maybe or a house show. That's fine. But having it on a pay-per-view in a championship match as your first match, yeah, she was kind of sloppy. She held her own though, and my favorite moment of the match was Carmella coming out to like tease the fact that she's gonna, because she should have done it there, because if there's gonna be controversy, I'm sure they check their Twitters and stuff back, because they're always talking about how like they always like back they always show the tweets on the screen, like this is what this person tweeted, like Shane McMahon's, Daniel Bryan's tweet. So like, and especially because they tagged James Ellsworth in their own tweet and Carmella, they should get the notification on their phone saying, oh, that this issue is gonna be addressed. If you know that issue is gonna be addressed, cash it in right now in that match, because you might not have that chance, right? That's what I would have done. She teased doing it because that's what, when you're a heel, you come out and you tease it. But if you got that Twitter update on your phone and it's gonna be addressed, you might as well just cash that in because you have nothing else to lose, right? You get what I mean? I feel that's what
she could have, because then she could have been walking into, Carmella could have walked into SmackDown Live tomorrow night as the SmackDown Women's Champion into a whole chorus of boos.
Exactly. And then they can't be like, oh, we're taking away the Money in the Bank from you because Ellsworth got it, because hey, she already cashed it in. So that would have been a great prime opportunity to like fix the booking in a way. You know what I mean? And then, but then they have like a triple threat between like maybe they have the other women, the other 4 women in the match have a fatal 4-way on SmackDown. Whoever wins gets a triple threat at SummerSlam, or whatever comes before, whatever comes after a Great Balls of Fire. So
Battleground.
Yeah, so at Battleground,
it was Battleground, which will be in Philadelphia.
Oh, okay. So at Battleground they have a triple threat match, and maybe have Naomi win that, and then have Carmella go for invoke a rematch clause at SummerSlam. They could have done that, but of course we don't book for WWE, so instead we have whatever's gonna happen on Tuesday. We'll see. But yeah, as you saw, Carmella teases it, doesn't cash in. With that distraction, Naomi applies the Feel the Glow, which causes Lana to tap out, and then Natalia, I mean, not Natalia, Carmella once again teases her cashing in, which she doesn't.
Yeah.
So
The only thing about that is it feels like that first distraction didn't benefit anyone because I almost said Carmella. Lana still had some offensive moves right after that. It wasn't like
yeah,
Carmella distracted Naomi or Lana, and then Naomi went into I don't know what her submission's called if it has a name.
feel the glow.
Oh, that's her submission. That's
Yeah,
what's called.
apparently.
Oh, all right.
That's why I read on WWE.com. So
If she would have went right into the right after our cat and dog are playing too much. Sorry. And if she would have went to that submission move right after that, then I'm like, oh, okay, cool. I mean, it was still great ring psychology, but again, because of the finish, it's that her briefcase win is tainted because of that, which is why again I'm getting frustrated all over again just thinking about it.
right.
But again, like if she had won through her own shenanigans, or because she actually got the briefcase on herself, that would have been a great storytelling of ring psychology of like, you know what, I got this briefcase, I can cash it in at any moment, and I'm in your head and stuff like that. So
Right.
yeah.
I mean, I still think they could have salvaged what happened if they did what I said, because that would have caused more controversy and more like draw for the next SmackDown, as well as adding fuel to the fire. You know what I mean? That's what I think
Yeah.
it could have done, and it could have snowballed into what I was saying, and eventually it's gonna happen. Like I know I predict some things, but like sometimes eventually, like we're gonna go look back on some of these episodes and be like, oh, finally they did what they said, and it's great. So speaking of great, the next match was also a title match, and that pitted the WWE champion, the modern day Maharaja, Jinder Mahal, against Randy Orton,
Your Lord and Savior, right?
the hometown hero. So India needed a big win that day since they lost in the cricket finals to Pakistan. So we turned to our hero, Jinder Mahal, to pull off another stunning victory. And would he do it? Well, we'll see. So Randy Orton came in with all the momentum. He hit like an RKO out of nowhere on the SmackDown prior to this, and it was actually beautifully done. We knew like as soon as the Singh brothers ran out of the ring, Orton is going to come from behind. But the way the camera work framed it was great, because you didn't see Orton until the last second hitting the RKO. So that was really out of nowhere. I hate how they use that phrase for everything now, but because it's going to come. You know when it's going to come. But like that was actually like pretty much out of nowhere. That was really cool. That was probably the best way they done it, like with framework. I don't think it's the best RKO he's ever done. That probably goes for the Evan Bourne one, or the one at WrestleMania against Seth Rollins off the curb stomp reversal. That was great. I really saw the Colossus being reversed into an RKO last night, but it didn't happen. But he came in with momentum. He was also the hometown hero with his father and some other legends ringside.
Mm-hmm.
He tried to win the match early. He tried to hit the RKO out of nowhere, but it's not gonna be out of nowhere because it's coming. But he wiggled out of it, and then I think the Singh brothers got up on. Did they get up? Was that when they got up? Oh no, he just wiggled out of it, right? And then Randy Orton seized control early in the match for the majority of the early in the match. And it seems like he was feeding off the crowd, because the crowd kept going RKO, and he was like feeding off it. It was a great atmosphere for him, and I think it was really, I haven't seen anything like that since I guess CM Punk, but it wasn't as good as the CM Punk in Chicago for that. But that happened to be a Money in the Bank as well when he beat Cena for it, So that was that. The Money in the Bank always does have good hometown crowds for their people. One day maybe we'll see a Money in the Bank in India, and we'll see the modern day Maharaja still be retaining his championship. I doubt it, but we can dream. So yeah, it was a good match. I mean, like Orton was leading until the Singh brothers distracted him again, which caused Jinder Mahal to throw Orton out of the ring, and which tweaked his knee. And that's when we see like the ring psychology of Jinder Mahal continuously working over that knee. And that's what I always point out to you. Like, I love that he keeps working on it with different moves. Like, he saw that atomic drop onto the knee, onto the barricade, onto the ring announce table. We see the grapevine hold. We see a figure four leg lock with, the Nature Boy in the audience. Like, I think great. Like, I don't know, like, if he thought of it himself or that's how they booked the match to happen. But like they always honk amongst themselves and say, "This is what I'm going to do." This that if that was Jinder Mahal like ring like psychology saying to do that, like kudos to him, man. He had a great match for doing what he did.
Yeah, again, I thought it was a really good match. Ginger had like some really great heat, of course, because Randy Orton's the hometown hero. This was one of the few matches I've seen Randy Orton care about in the last couple of years. So that was great to see. Like it felt like he was like really invested in this match, like in his facial expressions. Usually a lot of times you see that and you're like, okay, I don't think Orton's really in this, but last night it seemed like he cared. I'm not saying that he doesn't care at all in his previous matches, but it came off that he cared. I'm still waiting for when the Singh brothers are going to get their own match in the ring because they actually did pretty good work. If anyone saw the cruiserweight title match,
Cruiserweight
Classic. If anyone saw those, even though they do good work, so I'm actually curious when we're going to see that. And I was glad Jinder won because I didn't want to see Orton get another title belt just yet.
Yeah. So what we saw Jinder dominate after the early domination by Randy Orton. We saw Jinder turn the tables, work over that knee over and over until I think he went for Orton's father's, Cowboy Bob Orton's signature move, and that really draw the ire of Randy Orton. Yeah, superplex. And he turned it around, started hitting power move after power move. He did his running, he did his quick power slam that he does, or whatever you want to call it. He slings the guy to the rope and does that quick power slam. And then he did the hanging DDT. And then he got the audience like involved. He's like, come on, let's go. Let's get in this. And then his Viper, like, coiled Viper stance. I thought maybe he'll injure himself again like he did against Edge that one pay-per-view where he slammed it and like pulled his shoulder or whatever it was, and they had to end it with a spear. That was pretty bad, but he really fed off the audience. He hit that RKO, and this moment was, I thought we were gonna see the, how we had that moment with Kevin Owens with touching the rope with his one finger. I thought something like that was gonna happen, but it was great to see that one of the Singh brothers, I forgot which one was, grab Mahal's leg in plain view of the referee and put it on the rope, saying, "Go ahead, disqualify us, asking for disqualification." And here we go again with, remember what we said? I forgot what pay-per-view this was, and we're saying, I guess this was the this was the this is like the Ambrose match, right? What we said, like, if a referee got bumped, he'd automatically go for the disqualification, not go and ask like, what should I do? Remember that whole, it played against the
yeah.
But this, I felt this was a little different because that was so blatant that the referee had to think like, oh, I'm not going to throw away a title match for this, like especially a WWE title match. Mm-hmm. Being in Orton's hometown and Orton like pleading like, please, like just eject them. I'd rather have you eject them. He even saying like, eject them, and that's what he did. He ejected them. So that was better done than that Dean Ambrose debacle where like getting bumped didn't automatically DQ him kind of thing. I think that was better done. But we knew they weren't going to leave without pulling something. And that's when they went up to Cowboy Bob Orton and just threatened to hit him. And that, enraged Orton, Randy Orton, came out. And this was a great barrage on the outside. I think this was like, the Singh brothers took it really well, took every hit really well, took great bumps. That RKO, like the first RKO was okay, but the second one was from one table to the other was great. It was just great workmanship all around. Did the match end pretty abruptly after that? Yes, because by that time, Jinder Mahal's gonna get up. This was about like, I don't know, 6 or 7 in-ring minutes, right?
Mm-hmm.
He came in right into a Kalash, which I thought, like the way he put him up, like Orton's body twisted, I thought he was gonna reverse enter an RKO, and I wanted Jinder Mahal to kick out, but I didn't think he would. But he actually landed it cleanly and got the pin. So Brown power again, Brown pride. We win another one cleanly, I might say.
Yeah.
Cleanly, sort of. But yeah, he retained and like upset Orton in his own hometown in front of his family, in front of his father and friends on Father's Day. So we had the reactions of the WWE universe in house again. But whatever. They don't show the Brown pride people going crazy. They could show India right now and they'll be all lit up, happy for Jinder Mahal. My dad and I cheered when it happened, so that was good. Any thoughts about that match? Where the feud, like what's gonna happen now? Who's gonna feud? Without giving away who won the Money in the Bank match. Do you see anything happening between these two? Is it over? What do you guys think?
I'd say it's not quite over yet. I mean, number one, we continue the trend of WWE superstars losing in their hometown. The only one that's managed to overcome that so recently is Rich Swann.
He's not a superstar, I wouldn't say. I guess they're considered superstars if being on the show, but I wouldn't consider him a superstar per se. But yes, technically, being on the WWE roster makes him a superstar, but I don't consider him a superstar. They just call him WWE star.
And it was a mixed tag team match, so I guess that gives something.
Yeah, it doesn't even count because that was a mixed tag team match. And you have Sasha Banks. You can't lose with Sasha Banks. She's too good. She's the boss. Anyway, continue your thoughts. Sorry, go ahead.
But I kind of do see I feel like it's not over yet between Orton and Mahal. Even if it's not like right away, it could be like we could see like maybe Orton's out for a few weeks, or long enough that he misses the next pay-per-view Battleground, and somebody else challenges Mahal for the title, say AJ Styles. Even though it looks like he's not exactly done with Kevin Owens.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm just thinking like somebody, but just got to think of a top tier baby face that would be pressed in to battle Mahal. And
well, how about this? Gender, like what I was saying earlier, is what I didn't like is being Indian and seeing Mahal come out. You know, wearing turban is fine, but he wore it like over his mouth, kind of like playing off that terrorist aspect kind of thing. You know, where we saw Muhammad Hassan do this, like, and get like booed off, and you know, eventually ending his career because of the WWE writing and creative team. It wasn't even Muhammad Hassan's fault. He, you know, I think he himself was Spanish, the actual wrestler himself.
I think he's Italian or something like that.
Yeah. He wasn't Arabic or anything, but like because of what happened in, you know, with September 11th and all that, and all the terrorist attacks that were happening, his career pretty much ended because of the way WWE created right team. I don't want to see that to happen to Mahal, or him to be portrayed as like the evil anti-American. Anti-American's okay. I'm not saying it's a good thing, but I'm saying like for a character, it's okay. Just don't have him be a terrorist. That's all that's all I'm asking. But if he's gonna play the anti-American angle, and we're having somebody return on 4th of July, the All-American hero, the new All-American hero being John Cena, he could come into that role. As much as I'd hate to see that, him come into the role, and you know, we're gonna probably see that, and I'm gonna hate seeing that, because he's probably he's gonna beat Mahal, because then that's gonna be even worse for me, because he's gonna beat Mahal, 1, and 2, that's gonna set the record for most championships or whatever it is.
Well,
that's gonna piss me off.
I think I predicted that. I don't know, either one or I think at the last SmackDown we were saying, when we were saying what will be next, and I was saying, well, John Cena's still coming back. I think that might could just be an isolated match on the 4th of July, even of course, but because you know, when it comes to Vince McMahon, he loves his All-American white males. But I completely lost my train of thought. Well, that could be an isolated match. It doesn't have to be John Cena getting a title contention yet, because I don't think Cena deserves it. I think he needs to work his way back up again, which I think he'd be all up for. So that could be like sort of like just an isolated match for that day, since it does take place on Independence Day. And then we sort of work him into with someone else, like a or we can, or this just came to me on the 4th of July. We could get the face of the U.S.
Oh yeah,
face of America, and sort of like a champion versus championship match, something like that, just to cool some heads and start, because I feel like the 4th of July, the 4th of July SmackDown might just be a not like a gimmick fest, but like a throwaway SmackDown live, because they know people are going to be out with their families.
Yeah.
And
it's probably gonna be pre-recorded anyway, so we'll know what happens ahead of time, I think.
Oh, is it recorded, or is it gonna be SmackDown, or is it gonna be live?
It probably.
I think it might be live, because it is on a Tuesday. So.
I would think.
No, but I feel like for holidays they always pre-record it, like Christmas and stuff like that.
Well, that's Christmas, because
I don't know.
But I figure if it's 4th of July, they'll probably still have it. They'll probably still have it live, unless they decide to tape it on the Sunday before, like they used to do it, where they would tape SmackDown.
Or they could just tape it on Monday too. You know, they could have two different crowds.
Really quickly, is this the first time around we have SmackDown Live on Tuesday anyway?
Yeah, we're coming up on the 1-year anniversary of SmackDown Live.
We don't have anything to go off on because it's the first time it'll be live on a Tuesday, because every other time they're pre-recorded anyway. But
then again, Raw was on 4th of July last year.
Was that recorded? Well, and then again, and it's Raw. Well,
yeah, I
think it might be live. I think it might be live.
Even if it is or isn't, I think we're gonna have an anti-American celebration by Jinder Mahal, and that's gonna be interrupted by the returning Cena. That's what I see.
I rather see the champion versus championship match.
Right. Well, you know, maybe Kevin Owens comes out first, but Cena will ultimately come out and.
I mean, but still, Kevin Owens, you know, he's calling himself the face of America.
Yeah.
And he's
a Canadian.
Anyway, but.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah. So well, ultimately, I hope Jinder Mahal holds the title until SummerSlam. At least SummerSlam. A Royal Rumble would be nice, but you know, I don't want to push my luck.
Yeah, agreed. There's a campaign for him to hold the title forever, but we know the question is not if, but when is he going to drop that title? So.
All right, so I want you to lead into the next segment because I know you love this duo, and this is the throw-in match, the one non-title implication match, non-championship implication match. So talk about what happened. We had a segment, and go ahead.
The Fashion Police had a nice little, I guess you call it backstage segment. They called Fashion Vice, was it?
Yeah.
Fashion Vice, you know, playing off the 80s television show, Miami Vice. And they were in their, you know, 80s throwback gear. And a couple of weeks ago, their office was trashed, and they were trying to figure out clues to figure out who it was that trashed their office. And then they had this shadowy message on a television screen.
Well, before you go into that, I just say one thing. I love they're like, here's this artist sketch of the culprits. It's just two stick figures in the back. That was hilarious. All right, go ahead. Sorry.
The comedic timing of it, and like the little things you pick up if you're looking around their set is just amazing. That's why I love it. That's why
they are kind of like the Edge and Christian of back in the day. Like the Edge and Christian had that kind of humor, and I love that about them. And even Goldust and Booker T when they had that back in the day too. That was great as well. Yeah. But I do enjoy the humor. I do enjoy the humor.
That's why this team is over for me. So we get the shadowy message saying, you know, we destroyed your office, come to the ring tonight and you'll figure out who it is. Although if you were familiar with some of the tag teams on the roster, you could figure it out quite easily.
Especially by looking at the shapes of the shadowy figures.
Yeah.
I just guessed. I had no idea who was on the roster. I just guessed, and like I happened to be right on my first try. It was so funny. I have no idea who was on the roster, and like I completely forgot these guys. But
not really tag team to choose from anyway. So turns out it was the Ascension, Connor and the other guy, Victor. Right. You know, guys, who were amazing, who actually are an amazing tag team when they were giving the opportunity on NXT, but again, being relegated to a Road Warrior knockoffs, once they got to the main roster, not getting many pushes, not being dominant as they were. Weren't they one of the longest reigning?
They were the longest reigning.
They were the longest reigning NXT tag team champions.
And now it looks like the Authors of Pain are probably poised to break that record.
Yeah.
I said in the last show, I don't think the Authors of Pain should lose at all. They should just relinquish the titles and move to the. That's how I feel, but we'll see.
Yeah, so we get the Ascension. So immediately, eyes are glassed over and no one's interested in this match. And it showed. The crowd did not care for this match. Even though they may love the Fashion Police, they were like, what? This match could have been set up on SmackDown. It did not need to be on Monday Night. Or they could have just left the backstage segment as it was that you'll find out on SmackDown. Right. But
we need that buffer match, remember.
That is true. But the crowd didn't care.
Yep. No, that's the bathroom break, man. This is when you go to the bathroom and get your last beer before they close out.
there is that, and maybe they know that, so they're like, you know what, guys, just go out there and do something. I don't know, but yeah.
I mean, it's like at least it's not what it used. At least the buffer match wasn't like it used to be, because it used to be the buffer match used to usually be the women's match.
Yep.
But they had the quick where it was like the women's match was the one where you went to the bathroom and you got your drink or you got your dessert or snack or whatever.
I have to say though, the last pay-per-view had probably the best buffer match we've seen in like a really long time, which is that cruiserweight match between Aries and Neville. So
yeah, well, when you put them two in the ring, you're gonna get a good match.
Yeah. All right. Anyway, so go on. I don't think there were any spots in the match, right? So
we can just move on. Just like
okay. Well, we got to tell the fans who won. I think.
Oh, sorry.
Fandango rolled up. Let me see. I have it. Victor for the win. That's about it.
You can tell them apart. Oh man, I don't even know.
Well, I looked it up on WWE.com. I had no idea which one was which. So
I can easily tell the Ascension apart.
I mean, not that they look alike. I'm just saying.
Well, I never even knew their names, honestly. So I had to look it up.
At least you. They should be happy we know that they're called the Ascension.
Because when I did you know how I did that. No, now next year Joe's gonna be able to participate. But you know how I did the WrestleMania, the thing I do, the contest. Yeah, and I was writing the people in the match for the Andre the Giant Battle Royal. I'm like, who the hell is this Victor guy? And my friend's like, oh, it's the guy from Ascension. And my friend doesn't even watch wrestling. He goes, well, that's the guy from. Well, he watches it, but like less casually than me, right? Mm-hmm. And or more casually, I don't know, whichever. He watches it less than me. And he's like, that's the guy from Ascension. I'm like, wait, how do you even know that? I don't even know who that guy is. Like, so yeah, so I had to actually look up their names and see like who the guy who got pinned. But yeah, there were no spots in the match, and they won by a roll up. That's about it. Yeah. So that brings us to the final match, and last was also a championship implication match. It was for the men's Money in the Bank ladder match, which featured AJ Styles against Dolph Ziggler, Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens, Shinsuke Nakamura, and Baron Corbin. I love watching entrances, and like most of these guys, I love their theme songs and the entrances. I love it, the crowd sing. AJ Styles entrance is always phenomenal, and so I love watching him. I love the fans singing along with Sami Zayn's theme song.
Mm-hmm.
I just love Kevin Owens' swagger when he walks down to the ring. Baron Corbin, I don't have much to say, but we didn't really get to see that because, Ziggler, Ziggler, I love his theme song. I love his attitude that he walks out. He's like the mixture of all of them. And then Shinsuke is like who I love the most. So I was so excited to see his entrance, but stupid Baron Corbin ruins it. So the match starts out with Baron Corbin jumping out before the match even started and leveling Shinsuke Nakamura, injuring him to the point where they had to carry him backstage. So that's how the match started.
I love how as the refs were like talking about like what do we do with Nakamura, you can hear Baron Corbin like, what are you talking for? Just start the match. I was like, yeah, Baron, tell him just start the match. But it was really good. He got heat right away at the beginning of the match, which is par for the course for his character. And it was fun. I mean, of course, it would be great to see Nakamura come out and everyone sing along. Anyway, but it was good.
And him doing that thing where he grabs the rope and just falls backwards. I love that.
Yeah, but it's all right. It informs the storytelling. I get it.
Yeah. And it kind of protects Nakamura from being in the match. Like how I guess they're trying to protect other people. How they did with the women earlier. Doesn't expose any weaknesses that he might have in a high-flying ladder match. I don't know if he's done that in NXT or not, but or Japan. But I protected him. But all we saw in this match was like great spot after great spot after great spot after like just nonstop. Like I think first it was with like I think it was like Owens and Corbin teaming up to like just like demolish everyone with a ladder, and then Corbin turning on Owens, and then finally Owens getting back in the ring and hitting everyone with the ladder until Sami Zayn came out, and Sami Zayn's countered it and threw him like I think body slammed him off the top rope through the ladder, which broke. Well, not broke, but it bent it like out of shape.
It looked like it hurt.
Yeah, that looked. Every time Kevin Owens is in a ladder match, I feel like he's gonna die. Like, and remember last one, he took a bad spill. Was it at WrestleMania? I think it was a Money in the Bank ladder match at WrestleMania. Whatever it was some type of ladder match. I think it was Money in the Bank at WrestleMania. I'm like, Kevin Owens is dead. He's out for the rest of the match. Remember that he came landed like flush head first onto the thing, and you see his neck just compress and twist. I'm like, he's dead. I mean, I know he didn't die, but I was like, dude, he's done. Like, he's done for like months. And he came back on Raw the next day, but he was out for the rest of that match. Like, he was done. He takes he takes big bumps, man, and good for him. Like, he's a big dude and takes big bumps. Yeah, so that caused the momentum to go in Zayn's favor, but then he started battling back and forth with Ziggler until Ziggler took some control, and then Corbin knocked him off. I don't know what happened to AJ, but he was out for the most. Like, I guess the early ladder just knocked him out of the match for the most part in the early on side of the match. Did you notice AJ in the match? I didn't really notice him early on.
Yeah, for a little bit he got like knocked out and stuff. Yeah, I can't remember. I don't remember AJ doing much until later, the later half of the match when he had those great forearm jumps and stuff.
They're not great forearms. They're phenomenal forearms.
Yes, the phenomenal one was phenomenal in this phenomenal match.
Yeah, so then we had that great moment. I think Zayn was climbing up one side and Corbin was climbing up the other, but then Ziggler was climbing up Corbin, and then he knocks him off. Then Ziggler gets back up, jumps and does the zigzag and pulls him down. Then Ziggler gets to the top, and Sami Zayn does that awesome sunset flip powerbomb. And that was, like I said, it was so, like I mentioned earlier, it was so dangerous. That was probably the spot of the night, in my opinion. That was super dangerous because like that was close to the edge of the ropes. Like that was, the ladder wasn't, I don't think it was flush to the I think the ladder on Zayn was more on the inside of the ring, and he was directly under the case. So Ziggler was a little bit behind the case, like towards the ropes. The fact that he flipped and then pushed him forward, his head could have hit the thing and hit the ropes and like snapped his neck or whatever, but they pulled it off, and that was probably the best spot of the night. Zayn continued his flurry, and then I think this is when AJ came back in and did the phenomenal forearm to Zayn as he was climbing up, and that's when AJ took Owens, and once again Owens takes a ridiculous, was it Owens I think took a ridiculous bump. He had him in the fireman's carry and just did like the attitude adjustment or whatever you want to call it off onto the ladder that was there. So once again Owens is just taking big bump after big bump, and this pretty much essentially knocked him out of the match for the most part until someone else returned. We saw Zayn continue his momentum and hit the Helluva Kick on Corbin. Helluva Kick, yeah. That's spelled, yeah, I don't know. I would never know what the guy's saying, but
I always say Helluva Kick too.
Yeah, Helluva Kick. And then Owens actually did come back for a second and low blowed him, but he was thrown out by Styles. I think that's when Styles did that thing to him. And then Styles climbed and grabbed the case. And this was another great spot where Styles grabs the case, but Dolph Ziggler kicks the ladder away. And now we've seen this before, him hanging, but then he actually pulled himself up, which was pretty cool.
Yeah,
but then eventually,
upper body strength.
And then eventually he fell.
That looked like it hurt.
Yeah, he came face first, not even back first. He came face first. That was one of the best spots I've seen from hanging from the cage. Besides the time I think Jeff Hardy took a spear from Edge. That was awesome as well. From a hanging person on the Money in the Bank briefcase. So in my notes I wrote Styles succumbed to gravity and fell crashing to the mat. Then Corbin tossed Ziggler out and had a clear shot with everyone down, and then that's when we hear Nakamura's music hit, and the fans now got to sing a song because that's what they missed out on earlier. He came to the ring and just came like a house of fire, right? He started kneeing and delivering crushing blows and hit Kinshasas to Ziggler, Zayn, and Owens.
Yeah, it was funny because I didn't hear Nakamura's music. I heard the fans. So I was like, I guess it's coming out now. And then they pan the camera and you can see Nakamura like coming back to the ring. So I thought that was pretty funny that I couldn't hear his theme music, but I heard the fans, so I felt like I heard it.
And he pretty much decimated everyone except for one person, which was AJ Styles. And that was a great
moment.
Yeah, so they're on either the ladder. They could have climbed it, and the cliche, let's fight on top and just like punch each other and fall, get up, punch each other, fall, that kind of thing. But they moved the ladder and then just started like trading blows, and that was great to see because I haven't really seen any of their matches, but from New Japan, right, they had great matches and stuff. So I wish I could have seen that. I could probably look it up and stuff, but
Yeah,
I remember seeing there's a GIF of it though of like him. I guess that's when AJ Styles was in the Bullet Club, and they always just shoot people. So they have it where he shoots Nakamura, but Nakamura catches it and eats the bullet. Like they have a GIF of that, so I think that's pretty cool.
yeah, it was just a great one because this is a match that people have been talking about since Nakamura and AJ have been brought on to WWE. So it's like when they did that stare down, and you can like feel the elation of the fans, like, oh crap, shit's about to go down, and they got what they wanted for a brief moment of time, not in like just them trading blows and showing why Nakamura is the king of strong style, and while AJ is phenomenal.
which we won't probably see until WrestleMania, unfortunately. But
Yeah,
it'll be it'll be
gotta
worth the
go.
wait. It'll be worth the wait.
Yeah, little
Um,
teaser, little sprinkle of what's the of what the
event eventually they did bring the fight to up to the top of the ladder where they both exchanged blows on top. AJ hitting some uppercuts and Nakamura hitting his chops or elbows, whatever it was. We don't see anybody in the ring. Everyone's pretty much out of the ring, but then we see like the camera zoom out, and that's when the lone wolf comes in. Baron Corbin comes and knocks over the ladder, and you think they'd get like what do they call it, nutted on the ropes, but no, they just fall short of the ropes, and then they roll out. So that's pretty much going to be it. So we see Corbin start climbing the ladder because no one else is anywhere near it. He climbs up, and he has, like I said, like he's a pretty tall guy, and he had issues getting the case off. He got it off, and he's now Mr. Money in the Bank.
Yeah, it was because when he started doing it, I was like, oh, I thought someone was going to come up the ladder because it was taking him such a long time to get the briefcase. But I was like, oh,
no, because yeah. I thought that because it was zoomed up on his face, like it was zoomed up on like his upper body in the ladder. So, but then they zoomed out and they showed no one there. I'm like, oh my god, Baron Corbin's gonna win. So we go from Samoa Joe winning the #1 contendership on the Raw side and being shocked by that, now seeing Baron Corbin win the Money in the Bank. But I mean, it's always better when a heel holds the Money in the Bank because when are they gonna cash it in? They're always gonna pull those teasers and stuff. But with a heel champion, I mean, is he really a heel? He's got like 1.7 billion people behind him. He's not really a heel, but it's okay. Got a heel champion in Jinder Mahal. It's gonna be interesting to see where they go with that. So, how do you guys feel overall about not the show? I mean, but this match alone and having Baron Corbin come out as Mr. Money in the Bank?
I thought this was. I'm sorry, I didn't mean Ginger, but I thought it was a good match. No one really had a weak moment. Everyone looked strong, and we could get some I guess some possible feuds going forward. It looks like AJ still got some work to do with Kevin Owens. Sammy looks strong, which I was so proud to see. And Dolph looks strong because he's always going to put on a good match. It's always the storyline that he gets dragged in the butt in. So that's what I love to take away from the match, that everyone looks strong, no one looks really weak coming out of it. And Baron getting the title, okay, he needs something to do. So right. I'm interested to see where they go with it. What did you think?
Well, before we get to Joe's answer, we did talk about this prior. So, notwithstanding the outcomes of the match and how they ended, who do you think now had the better Money in the Bank match, the women or the men?
Well, the men for sure.
Notwithstanding the outcome, we're just talking about the actual match itself.
For one, they went longer and they were able to do more stuff.
I agree with her.
Yeah. Okay, no, because we were just talking about like who we think would have it better. Because we always said we never denied the women's talent. I just feel they were held back, and they probably could have let loose a little bit more than they did. I mean, even if they didn't do this crazy stuff, just seeing them let loose a little bit more would have been a better payoff. So go ahead, Joe. What do you think of the match overall and Baron Corbin coming out with the Mr. Money in the Bank?
It was this was probably definitely the better of the two Money in the Bank ladder matches, and definitely one of the best matches of the night because everyone, of course, had their spots. Nobody, as Delisha mentioned, nobody looked weak. Everybody, the whole part of Baron Corbin taking out Nakamura like before the match even started, pretty much immediately gave him the heat, but also kept Nakamura from being in the whole match. I mean, I wasn't even sure if he was going to come back or not near the end. but then he didn't, and his time in the his time in the match was well spent. I mean, of course, AJ Styles holding onto the rope for dear life. I mean, he played that off very well. And then in the end, I kind of had a feeling it was going to be Corbin because he seems to be the one that the company really wants to push. I mean, he's another former NFL player who they brought in and they've developed him in their camp. He's not an indie darling. He's just somebody that they developed. So essentially, I figure him having the briefcase. I mean, he's a very mean-looking guy. He's a very dominant guy. He's gonna definitely cash in. Although I don't see him cashing in on Jinder. I see him more likely to cash in on somebody like maybe if AJ Styles wins or John Cena or even
but not cleanly, right? You see him becoming an opportunist, right? Like as in maybe like Cena wins it from Jinder, and then Jinder might be like attacks him after the match with a chair. The Singh brothers all triple team him, and then you can see Corbin cashing in then, right? Not like a clean match like John Cena did or that RVD did.
No, right? Definitely more like the sneak attack where he basically, because he's definitely going to come up when the champion is down. He'll go after him. Because I figure I wouldn't be surprised if Cena were to be the victim of the cash in and were to be the one that and were to basically be where they just have him where he's just champion long enough so they can say he's held the title for 17 times. He officially now has more world top championship reigns than anybody else before him. He's officially broken Ric Flair's record. And then of course he gets beat down, and then you hear Baron Corbin's music comes in, and like just like a wolf in the wild, he comes in and basically cashes in and picks up the scraps and walks away with the title belt.
Or maybe he'll get beaten down by Jon Stewart again. Who knows?
I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't think so.
I just think
that was a SummerSlam though, right?
I don't even remember.
That was the first SummerSlam in Brooklyn. Yeah.
Yeah. Or as Jeremy Piven would say, Summerfest.
Summerfest.
So yeah, we're about wrapping up now. So I'm gonna go to Joe first. What do you think the low point of the pay-per-view was? Then the high point, and then your overall grade, as in from an A to an F. A being the best, F being the worst. So low, high, then grade.
I would say the lowest point of the pay-per-view was probably the finish of the women's match when Ellsworth, God, what the hell was he wearing? Climbed up the ladder and then just like took the briefcase and then just handed it to and then just tossed it down and Carmella. It just seemed like that like pretty much was like a deflating moment. Definitely the low point. High point of the pay-per-view, I would definitely say would be like the moments in the men's match where they were really like tearing down the house, the interaction between Styles and Nakamura, all the high spot Sammy hit and everything else. And I would say overall the pay-per-view was definitely a pretty good, decent pay-per-view. I would say it's about a B grade, just plain straight B, no plus or minus.
All right, Delisha, what do you think? Low, high, grade?
Low point definitely is going to be the women's match. That was a match I was looking forward to the most. Not only because I'm a woman, but I was just happy to see them get their spotlight and be. I forgot to mention it was weird that during we talked about it during Natalia's entrance, they cut to a promo.
Yeah.
I liked the promo that they did, but I was like, why?
The timing of it.
Yeah, and so the women's match, the Money in the Bank women's match was definitely a low point for me just because of that wonky finish, and I feel like they didn't get to showcase what they athletically could do with ladders in this setting and showing the hungriness for wanting that briefcase to get the title. High point, I kind of have two. It would be the men's Money in the Bank match itself because everyone looked strong and You could tell that they really wanted that briefcase to ultimately get the title. And also the New Day Uso match was really good storytelling, really good uh really good storytelling, because I can't think of what I was trying to say.
Good ring work.
Well, good ring work in trying to get this tag team
Feud, like a good feud presentation.
Yeah, and trying to get this tag team division back on track. Overall, to me, I'm gonna give this a C.
Okay.
This pay per view had its good, had its bad, had its in between. It felt like it was a good story. Like they had, if there was a storyboard in the writers' room of how this would go, was great. But it was like the editing and execution of something just didn't pay off for me. So I would say straight down the middle C. It had its good parts, had its bad parts, and I'm still excited to see how we move forward with some of these feuds going forward on the SmackDown tomorrow. Let's see how Daniel Bryan and Shane handle this, and let's see how they handle this controversy, because it is a controversy, because a lot of people, especially women, were excited to see the women get the opportunity to put on such a fabulous match, and they didn't get that opportunity. They didn't. So yeah, this was. I wouldn't say it was a bigger. It's not just, some people are calling it the worst pay-per-view ever. I don't particularly agree with that. I just think that it was not structured well, and definitely could use some improvement. So we'll see how Tuesday goes and how Battleground goes hereafter.
Yeah, so like you, I think I'm gonna pick one low point and two high points, and I do agree with you in a lot of points, and I do disagree with a few. I do agree that the low point was the women's Money in the Bank ladder match because it was hyped up so much. But it just, like I said, they did not allow them. Be it not their fault, none of the not their fault at all. But I feel like they didn't let them let loose and show what they could really do. Maybe that'll be the next time they do it. They'll let them, you know, go all out. But I feel like booking let us down. The where I disagree with the women's match, like I did not like the ending. I don't like how Ellsworth, grabbed the title and Carmella won it. But I did enjoy that little interaction between them when he did grab it and he just like kind of dropped it to her. I did that little millisecond of that little interaction between them. I thought that was great for their dynamic, for that relationship between Ellsworth and Carmella. So I did enjoy that dynamic for that little split second. What happened, like what transpired on how she won, I didn't enjoy. But that little thing of him like looking down at her, first trying to rally her, and then going up and getting it, and then just dropping it to her, I thought that was pretty well done. I didn't like that it was done, but since they did it, I did enjoy it, kind of how they did it. For the high spot, obviously, I agree with both of you guys again with the men's Money in the Bank ladder match, spot after spot after spot after spot, and they let them let loose. The one thing I didn't like is that Nakamura didn't get his entrance, but then he kind of did get his entrance later. But whatever. I would like to see more AJ throughout it, but what we did see of AJ was phenomenal, and the whole Nakamura and AJ thing was great too. The second high point for me, I have to say, is the modern day Maharaja Jinder Mahal retaining the championship. So I'd like to see him doing that. Brown Pride. So we're gonna keep it rolling all the way through SummerSlam. Hopefully, well, through Battleground and then to SummerSlam and through SummerSlam, hopefully. But we don't know. Grade wise, I completely agree with you. It wasn't bad, but it wasn't great either. It was flat out average. So I do agree with you, and I do give it a C. Had some matches gone a little bit differently in the way it was booked or played out, I probably would have given it maybe a B, mid B. But like I said, it's flat out average. The good parts canceled out the bad parts, so just straight down the middle, I give it a C. So I guess that's it for Money in the Bank. The next time you'll see us is for Great Balls of Fire on July. That's going to be on July 9th, so you'll see us the following night on July 10th. So look out for the AfterMat episode for that. And I just recently wrote the report card for Money in the Bank, so it'll be up on Odd Shape Press soon. I sent it to them earlier today, so they'll probably put it up tomorrow. Check that out. But is there any more thing that Joe or you would like to plug before we get in, call it a wrap?
Just you can always check out my articles that I write also for Ache Panel on their WordPress site. The most recent one for me is movie snacks. Favorite. I did a poll on Facebook and Twitter, regarding people's favorite movie snacks, and you can check out the results and what people preferred on there.
And your Twitter handle, just so we get that. And Joe, if he has one.
Yeah, Joe doesn't have a Twitter. He's
Oh.
on Facebook. You can find me at Delisha_Renee. That's DELISHA_RENEE on Facebook, on Twitter, and Instagram. Sorry, I'm totally out of it today. Really.
Yeah. So yeah, like I said, you can find me on Twitter at after_Matt, and as at Biren Jadejavu at BIRENJADEJAVU. On Twitter, you can also catch us in a few minutes on Odd Shape Panel. We'll probably be I don't know if they're actually having call-ins today, but we'll be on there. So check out Odd Shape Panel on the Odd Shape channel YouTube channel. And tomorrow night I'm gonna be doing my American Gods recap show with Tom from Odd Shape Panel or Odd Shape Channel, however you want to call it. The show's called American Odds at 9 p.m. on YouTube as well. And we'll be discussing the season finale. The season 1 finale of American Gods. And then you could probably catch us again in July 10th, I guess it is, right? That's the next time AfterMat will be on to discuss Great Balls of Fire. God, I hate that title.
I hate it so much.
That and the fact that the logo looks like a flaming dick.
That too, yeah. But they did change it, I think, because of the uproar that they got from it. So, I was deliberating whether or not we should use that as our next thumbnail, but I gave him a different thumbnail to use just so we don't get any trouble for that.
Yeah.
So until
yeah. Just to also tell people that our other co-host Eric wanted to be here tonight, but we had thunderstorms all across the East Coast, and his power went out, so he was not able to get on the internet, and he's on the phone with Comcast trying to get his internet back on.
Yeah, so the Hitman hopefully will be joining us for Great Balls of Fire, and him being a redhead makes it even that much funnier. So I hope we get the Hitman for Great Balls of Fire.
Yeah, and if you want to follow him, you can follow him at mmkoch, KOCH 200 on Twitter, and you can all share your love and tell Comcast to get his power back on.
And tell him to come back to the show, man. We miss him.
Oh,
we need the Hitman.
Yeah, no, I think his power's back on, but you can't get the.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry.
So until then, it's nice to have Joe on the episode today to fill in for Eric. Until then, we have my tag team partner, Delisha.
All right, you guys. I'll see you guys.
The Glamazon.
Balls of Fire.
You guys hear enthusiasm.
No, I can't. I just can't. Nope, I'm gonna gag.
It's a great song, though.
She's gonna gag on the Great Balls of Fire. You heard it there. So she set it up. I'm sorry. So until then, that's my tag team partner, the Glamazon Delisha. I am the People's Champ, Cal, signing off, and we will see you on July 10th for Great Balls of Fire recap on AfterMat. If you liked it, subscribe to this channel and smash the like button. All right. Until the next time, guys. Peace out.
Bye.